Okay, so all said and done, I think we are live tonight and we're also live on YouTube. Those of you who are following me on YouTube, we're going to record all this conversation and make it easily shareable and make it easy for you to also revisit the conversation in case you need a playback of it. Officially, welcome to another very exciting evening on Team Talk Africa on Shadows Claw. I can't stop talking about this project because the more I dig deeper, the more I read deeper about their whole ideology, the more I fall in love with what I see on my screens. And today, despite the fact that I've been hopping from one Zoom to another, one Zoom to another, and I even had to turn down an invitation for a conversation on Binance Square today. I promise you in the coming week, there's an important event happening on Binance Square concerning Shadows Claw, of which I will be there personally to share a few thoughts as usual and also contribute my quota towards the conversation. Now, why is it going that far? I don't even think that is that far. That is how small it can actually start. Now, if you are here for the first time wanting to understand what Shadows Clause is all about and why your friend keep bothering you to be part of it, tonight my job is to break it down for you, break it into human understandable language, no jargons, no big terms, all in a very simple language for you to understand. Now, Shadow's Claw um, is the latest kid on the block, but came very prepared with three very strong economic or activity layers, right? This project actually came to being as a result of a shadow message left by an AI agent trained by one lead developer. Now, this AI agent just dropped a message in the AI developing community, challenging and sharing its thoughts on how the future prospects of the whole crypto space will be and what is yet to come, depending on how the market is going. And this message actually quickly puts all the developers into debate and conversation mode, with everybody trying to decode that message and then also try to position themselves in a way that they are future ready for what is coming, right? And this is a project that is built on three strong foundations or three strong layers. These layers can be broken down into three different layers. The first one is what we call the economic layer, which in turn takes an existing economic model, right? A perfect economic model that has been in existence for over 6 years now, that has stood the test of time, of all market conditions, all user activity, all human activities in the next in 6 years. You can bear with me that if you have a project that involves people, millions of people, you come across every sort of character. You come across whales, you come across fishes, you come across whatever you want to call it, with different characters. So if your infrastructure or your program is able to withstand all these activities from all diverse people with different characters, also, spamming through a bear market, through a bull market, and kind of, I don't know whether to classify the current cycle as bull or bear. I really don't see anything, but it's been able to withstand all those harsh crypto conditions. Then it is a model worth emulating and being built upon. So that is one layer of our operations. And then the second one is the AI agent as an execution layer. And then comes the third one called the application layer. Now, our conversation will be centered around these three things in brief. And then subsequently, we'll move further deeper into how does this matter to you? Why should you be part of it and all? So if you are ready, I am ready. Now, the first layer I want to talk to you about is the Olympus DAO economic layer. Why the Olympus DAO? This is an economic layer I was earlier on talking to you about that has been very, very successful since its launch for 6 years. What did they stand to do? They decided to propagate the idea of what we call protocol own liquidity, right? They are of the opinion that if the community can come together and provide their own liquidity for their tokens, then they believe that all those programs that couldn't see light of day as a result of the external liquidity provided pulling their liquidity would have seen the light of day. So when they designed their ecosystem, they decided that we are not going to leave that business to external parties who put their USDTs aside or provide liquidity to support trading of their tokens, and in the end, making all the commissions of the project, right? So they thought that what if we bring that economic activity home and then give it to our community users to be, they are already part and parcel of this project. Community users like you and I, we have one common goal to ensure that the project lives long enough for us or to see or to meet our financial goals, right? And this economic layer I'm talking to you about has raised multiple millionaires, people coming from a background of nothing. I mean, there's a story that touched me earlier when I was on a Zoom with somebody who was sharing his personal, experience with one of these protocols. He said, "Look, Jerry, as at the time I was introduced to that platform, I could barely afford even $100. It was as embarrassing as it was. He managed to come out of his shelf to approach his leader and say, "Look, I really want to give it a try, but I really don't have the funds." His leader went all off his way, providing him with $100 to start that business. And then, knowing and understanding what it offers, he went all out to build. Sometimes you feel people who kind of invite you to programs are really people who don't really have money or just want to leverage on you. No, leveraging, yes, but not just because they want to. Sometimes it's as a result of they wanting to change your finances. This gentleman saying, "Oh, I didn't have the means, but I was willing," and got that support from his leader, straightly went to work. And as we speak, he now wakes up to nothing less than $4,000, $5,000 from the same model he has been on for more than 4 years now. So that model itself has been very, very successful. And ever since they launched that model, 6 years in business, nobody has been able to rob anybody, no system upgrade, no liquidity fluctuations, no stories. It is just people and the rules that have been set together into a smart contract. So when Shadow Cloud decided that they were going to be future ready for the message drop by this super AI agent, they decided to copy what is already working, what has proven to be successful. Now you may be wondering, "Oh, Jerry, what if that was just one-off success story?" Well, the good news is that other protocols also came, and then you see, it is good when you give credit to where credit is due. Somebody may say you are on Shadow's Claw project. Why are you mentioning Olympus DAO, which is also another protocol? Because they came to perfect the idea, and we thought that the idea was good. That let's also build upon their success. So other protocols also decided to build upon that Olympus DAO protocol, and all of them have been very, very successful so far. With some running for 4 years, others 3 years, others 2 years. And in all these, the most important thing, especially to us as community, members, is that none of these projects has ragged or taking people's money and telling them stories like we are used to. So they pick that as economic layer. If you listen to me carefully, this Olympus DAO itself relied heavily on that particular model alone, and they are very, very successful for 6 years. So now Shadow's Clause says, how do we rewrite the success history, the success story of Olympus DAO? Yeah, they are 6 years old and still counting. What do we do to outlive their, or even to have bigger impact on our people than they have done? Well, let's add other sources of economic activities or revenue to what is already successful to even make it bigger. In our local parlance, there's something that we say in Namdodon Senkwan, which means that in our friends in Nigeria also say plenty fish no dey spoil soup, abi. So they thought that if this thing is already working and it's very successful and it is sustainable, irrespective of the huge APY they give to people, then let's even make it better. But while we are making it better, let's look at some of the shortfalls of that economic model. What are some of the loopholes that people can point finger to and say, oh, that guy is very gentle, but so how do we prevent the bat? Let's look at the bat aspect of it and then make sure we address it. Then they came with the idea of adding prediction market. Now, let me tell you something. Prediction market as an application layer is the biggest thing happening in the crypto space right now. In fact, the topic I was invited to speak on Binance Square has to do with prediction market, right? Prediction market is rippling through almost every aspect of what we call trading currently in the world. Why am I saying so? Any other trading activity you can do on any platform, think about it. I don't know the kind of terms you call it, whether crypto or forex trading, or whether I call them sports trading, whether sports trading, futures, or any other form of trading, that can be done on the prediction market. The idea is that crypto by nature is, or the blockchain by nature, is a disruptive technology that has come to take power from few businessmen and put that power back to the hands of the ordinary. That is why somebody could buy BTC at a very small price, keep it for long, believing in the project that this BTC could change my life, maybe from few hundreds and then rising all the way to over $100,000. Right? So crypto by nature is very, very disruptive in nature. Right? Now, prediction market says whatever you can do on your crypto exchanges, whatever you can do on your forex exchanges. In any case, what do we do on all these platforms? We trade our opinion, including our friends who are involved in sports trading. I don't call it gambling. To me, it's not a gamble. What I mean, what I see it is what these guys do is the same thing we also do in the forex trading market. What do we do? I wake up in the morning, I did price, or I did market analysis, and I have come to the conclusion that looking at the technical analysis I have put in place and few other things, I feel USD, which is the United States dollar, will do better or will rise against the British pounds. That is my opinion. Now, as an opinion, I decided to trade my opinion by putting my money on it. If my prediction goes right, I make money from the from the forex market, right? If it goes against me, I lose those trades. When you go to the crypto market, it's the same. Oh, I think BTC will rise against the US dollar, right? Which is denominated by, let's say, USDT. So BTC rising against USDT, you put your money on it. When it happens, you make extra money. When it goes against you, you are liquidated and then you cry. So sometimes you hear some people posting, oh, over $2 billion have been wiped out have been liquidated from the market. Simply means that people who were, trading their opinion on how market will market move in the other way around, and they have lost their predictions and all that. Same applies to sports. Oh, Ghana is playing. We are playing against Colombia. Yeah. As I speak to you now, I'm dressed from head to toe in my national colors, proudly Ghanaian. Getting ready to shout to the next goal that comes. If I strongly believe that Ghana is definitely going to beat, Colombia, I can trade that opinion. How do I do that? I go to a betting firm, for instance, under normal circumstances, and I say, well, I feel Ghana is going to beat Colombia, so I have $100 I want to put on my opinion. If that happens, maybe Ghana beats Colombia, I make about about 5, depending on the odds. Let's say I make about $500, right? If Colombia beats Ghana, I've lost my $100. It's the same thing we do. Now, this industry called the prediction market has come to destabilize all these other traditional business models. And then what business does that has to do with you? How does that put money in your pocket? Now, if I go to trade on let's say Forex, there are brokers, immediately you open position, they will charge you. Maybe you open one lot of trade, let's say gold trade. Immediately you pick the trade, they charge you $50. They charge you ahead of time. That is raw revenue, which is the spread that goes to these forex brokers. Same applies to the prediction market. Now, in this prediction market, because this power has been vented into the hands of everybody, and there are no serious restrictions like in other countries. When it comes to the traditional things, there are countries in this world that you cannot access maybe betting sites to even trade your opinion. But when it comes to the crypto space, you have that flexibility, that freedom to actually do what you have long wanted to do through the prediction market. The platform owning that market normally charges what we call fees on the total amount being wagered or being traded on on that particular topic. So let's say the topic at hand is Ghana versus Colombia. Who wins? There are one set of people who will say, I think Colombia is definitely going to kick Ghana out, and then they're going to monetize their opinion. There are another group of people who will say, I think that game is definitely going to end in a draw. They also put their money. Then another group say, no, like my group saying Ghana will beat them. We put our money. Now, all the total sum of money put on all these outcomes represent the volume trade. Then the platform owner, let's say if this is being hosted on Shadow's Claw prediction market, they say, okay, at the end of the day, $1 million has been thrown on that prediction. The rules is that the system charges at least 2% of the total amount traded. That is fee you incur while you are placing this, you are placing this prediction, and that becomes a raw source of revenue to the platform. So Shadow Claw decided that, okay, since it's becoming a trend, nobody wants to stop talking about it. Open your Trust Wallet. They are telling you to predict on events, and they will redirect you to some of these platforms. Open your Binance. Binance is telling you about prediction market. Oh, open your OKX. Everybody is telling you about prediction market because they know that is where the volume is moving and they don't want to be left out. So they are bridging the way, making sure that everybody is not, even their customers don't have to move funds from their platform simply because they have to go and put their opinion elsewhere. So even crypto exchanges do not want to be left out. It has become that very important feature. Open all the decentralized crypto wallets. They are talking about prediction market, including the almighty market cap. Go to CoinMarketCap, look at one of the tabs dedicated solely to prediction market. Why has it become so important? Oh, even the World Cup ongoing, one of the core partners of the World Cup who sponsored FIFA to ensure that the world celebrates a historic event like this is a prediction market platform. You understand? So this is becoming a mainstream, and those who can position themselves earlier stands the chance of getting everybody's attention, including we, the community members, who go and monetize our opinions elsewhere. Would rather do that on our community. What is the end game? To be able to mobilize enough revenue and then add it back into our reserves to ensure that at the end of the day, we have enough to support the program and make it worthwhile. And while they do that too, they ensure that they also create an AI agent whose job is to analyze all the news, all the trending events, and see how and predict potential outcomes of some of these events. Oh, talking about prediction, even in the forex markets right now, even in the crypto space, a lot of the trades you see are not placed by humans. People set up systems, AI agents, whose job is they have instructed them. Let's say if I am trading, particularly trading what we call head and shoulder, in forex. And I created a logic telling my AI that whenever you see a head and shoulder forming, or whenever you see a reverse head and shoulder forming, place this call for me, whether I'm on call or not. Take this position for me. So these AI agents don't sleep. They wait, they analyze the market until the pattern you want to form will form, and then they go ahead and execute this trade on your behalf. And of course, that seems to be the main driving forces why crypto market doesn't sleep in the midnight, even while you are asleep, even if the entire world are glued to their screens watching World Cup, you still see so many trades going every second of the day. This is the work of AI agents. Shadow's Claw is also coming with its own AI agent, and the bigger idea is that in the near future, they want to raise over 1 million super agents, each dedicated to every single user of our platform. As long as you are willing to deploy this agent to work on your behalf, this agent can go in and then take some of these positions for you as long as you want. And that simply means that there are a lot of traders out there who need some of these features. They would definitely have to switch to the AI agent that works in our prediction market. And then while they deploy this AI, they buy our internal token, which is called the SAC, and then they use that to fuel the AI agent to go and work or to predict on our prediction market, and still generating extra revenue from here, and fueling all back into our economic layer to sustain our flow. That is the whole concept about AI agents, right? Or about Shadow's Claw. Now, like I mentioned earlier, our internal token, which is the Shadow's Claw, already listed on CoinMarketCap for the last one month, 9 days. It's been hovering around 27.7, and it's been relatively, stable. And of course, due to the prudence economic, management model that has been deployed, some of us anticipate that the token price remains as it is for a very long time, with anti-dump and with mechanisms put in place to ensure nobody takes advantage of the fact that the token is rising and they want to take advantage of it. So in all this, how do you come in? Now, remember I told you earlier that the original Olympus DAO gave the power to liquidity provision to the community users, right? Shadow's Claw is also giving you that power. They are saying that, look, come and help us provide liquidity. Let us own this liquidity as a protocol, right? And then let your liquidity yield revenue for you or yield rewards for you. So we have staking, buy and swap, or swap your USDT into SAC, and then stake to receive your reward. And at the end of the day, there are two modes of staking. We have the flexible staking, and when it comes to the flexible staking, just like your flexible savings product at the bank, what it simply means is that it is open. Your capital is not locked, and traditionally the returns on such investments are not as huge as the fixed deposits and other things will be. The flexible staking option here, of course, minimum to start with is just $1. If it is $1 or one sack you want to stake, hooray, go ahead and stake. But the system says that that $1 you are staking is available for you anytime you want it. Maybe that $1 is your last, and you may need access to it at any point in time. You put it into flexible staking, and every day it yields about 0.2% for you every day. So the 0.2% together with your capital is not locked, all available for withdrawal at your call. Anything you do, your money, your call. Now, aside that, we also have the fixed staking, models, which has been broken down into three different options. We have the 90 days, the 180 days, and then the 360 days. The 90 days grants you about 0.4% daily. Of course, let me mention here that if you decide that you're not going to actually withdraw the 0.2 earnings that comes, it compounds nicely, and by the end of the month, it gives you about 10% on average, 10% average a month. So we also have the 90 days model that gives you about 0.4% every day, and when compounded, can give you about 461% APY in 90 days when allowed to compound. Now, let me be clear here. If you put your money into the fixed staking, it doesn't mean that both your capital and your interest are locked. No, the capital will be locked for the 90 days, but the yield that comes every 12 hours is actually available for you anytime to withdraw. And of course, if you decide to leave it, we have what we call the yield smart compounding mechanism, which is very simple. Let's say you came in with 1,000 SAC, and then at the end of the first 12 hours, you receive 4 SAC as your interest. What happens is that you are at liberty to withdraw that SAC, that 4 SAC. But if you decide not to take it, when the next 12 hours is up and the system is about to disperse again, it is now going to take your capital, which is 1,000 SAC, plus the interest you have not withdrawn, and then give you the next rebase on it, compounding or yielding a very smooth compound interest for you at the end of the day. Now, this in 90 days gives you about 461% APY. Then we also have the 180 days that yields about 0.6% daily, and then in total, within 180 days, is able to grant you about 850%, in fact 880% annualized yield. When you go to the back end, the existing or the prevailing APY is always displayed for transparency and all. What you see here are just estimates or average daily earnings. Then we have the bestseller, which is the 360 days contract that gives you approximately 0.9% daily. Of course, the earnings come in twofold, 2 times a day, even in all the stakes. So every 12 hours, rebates are distributed nicely to you. At the end of the day, you end up walking home with about 1,600 to 2,300% for the year. Yeah, I know if is the first time you are hearing this, that is really going to shock you, but that is the norm. If you take the existing Olympus DAO models, when they all started from the beginning, some even gave up to 40x for so many years, and they are still sustainable. So by this example, what it simply means is that if I decide to put 1,000 dollars into this and allow it to compound over 360 days, what it means is that I should be walking home with at least 2,300 like $23,000 worth of SAC, granted that the token price still remains as it is as of today. This is the unique opportunity that the other protocols have used to transform lives of many. Many ordinary people became extraordinary just by buying into this and then planning long term and going all out to promote the platform, or even just take and forget about it for long, come back later, redeem whatever they want to redeem, and then go their way. Now, talking about going back to come and then redeem, how sure are we that, oh, Jerry, this thing you are saying it sounds good. Are you sure if my time is due, these guys are definitely going to allow me? Oh, hello. The good news is that it is not about any guy allowing you. It is a smart contract, a code. All these agreements have been put into a code. That code, properly renounced, with no proxy upgradability, with no backdoors allowed for that feature or this particular set of rules. So these rules have been signed. You don't need to trust Jerry. Jerry doesn't need to trust the owners of the platform. All I need to trust is the agreement, the smart code, or the smart contract that exists between us and the platform. And thankfully, this is a decentralized autonomous organization, what we normally call as DAO. And power is not vested in only some few individuals who call the shots. And let me say it again. The last time I said it, it got me into trouble, but that was a sweet trouble. Any project that claims to be a DAO And then you have one guy at the top there who says, oh, I feel for the purposes of the growth of the community, let's prevent people from taking their profit. My brother, that is not a DAO. Oh, they tell you we are Olympus DAO model. And then they tell you, when you point out some of these things to you, they tell you, but we never said we were DAO. But you said you were Olympus DAO model. Thankfully, in Shadow's Claw, this kind of behavior cannot exist here because the smart contract we signed says that when I put in my money, anytime I want it, I just have to go to the smart contract and say, it's my money. I want it now. Do the swapping, get my USDT, and walk away. You do not need approval from, oh, Jerry, write to support. Tell support that there is no support. This is a community-owned project. Proposals are brought up by node holders. Node holders have the right to debate, to vote, and to make proposal. So Jerry, for instance, as a node holder, I could wake up and say, I think the community is not growing fast enough. I believe it's as a result of the low APY. So let's raise our APY to 50x, and then it will attract a lot of people. The fact that I have said it as a node holder doesn't mean it should be implemented because power is not vested in me alone. In the same way, the developers cannot just wake up and say, tomorrow, I think we should increase the APY or even reduce it to ensure sustainability. That power is not vested in them. Traditionally, what happens is, if I want to make my proposal, I have to gather the community members like we are on call, and I'll sell my point of view to you like a political campaign. That, guys, look, let's team up. I think if we implement this and we do it in this manner, this is the result we expect to get. Another group of people will also call you on that same way and say, look, don't listen to Jerry. Jerry is just being greedy. He's just being selfish. He just wants an avenue to make so much in quick time, not thinking about future generations. Let's maintain it. So after the debate and all, it finally goes to poll. Then we vote. Now, if at the end of the day, the yes have it, let's say they say majority people voted and say, now we agree with Jerry, let's increase the APY. Once that is established and the polls are closed, that becomes the rule, which is implemented, adopted and implemented by the smart contract. Now, how is it done? It is put in a language that is readable by the smart contract and only authorized by node holders. Do you know what that means? What it means is that one person cannot just sit somewhere and say, enough, we can't pay you, and we want to pause the website and do some upgrade, and let's implement this, let's implement that. I am sorry, those things do not exist here. Now, there's another means of also providing liquidity or reserve bond, which is through what we call the bonding mechanism. Now, instead of you going direct and say, I have USDT, I want to stake and then let it go to work immediately. You can say that I want to come through via a discount base. I want to provide this liquidity, but give me some discount as a result of the fact that I am coming. How does that how does that work? Please, am I still audible? Go King, can you still hear me?
Yes, Jerry, you're still audible. You're audible.
Go King, please, am I still audible?
You are. We can hear you loud and clear.
Can any of the admin hear me? Am I still audible, please?
You are audible. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry, someone distracted me with a call. I apologize. So you can also come through the bond provision. Now, the bond and then the staking are almost the same languages. The only thing is that when you come through the bond, you receive some extra discount to acquire the SAC token at a discounted price. For instance, let's say one SAC is trading around $100, and you decide that I want to stake some funds. Let's say I want to stake $1,000, but I want to do 360 days through the discount or through bonds. The system says for the fact that you are going for 360 days, we're going to provide you 3% discount. So rather than paying $1,000 dollars for the 1,000 worth of that token, you rather pay $970. Now, having done that, there's a catch, there's a caveat that requires that when you acquire this SAC directly through bonds, it is held and released to you linearly for 5 days. So what it simply means is that yes, you are accepting it at a cheaper price at a cost that is 3% lower than the existing market price, but you have to wait for 5 days for all the tokens to be released to you before you can claim and then put it into the stake. What is the difference between this and then the outright liquidity, the outright staking? With the outright staking, your USDT is swapped at the existing market rate, but it goes to work instantly, immediately, right? It goes to work today. So in the next 5 days, before somebody who acquired through, bond mechanism gets to stake, you have already enjoyed 5 days of staking. So let's say if you put into the 360 days and approximately you are earning about 0.9% daily, it means that within the next four days, that 5 days, you would have earned about 4.5, interest ahead of somebody who came through the discounted base of losing 5 days before putting it to work. One more thing, as a community and as a crypto project, most of you will agree with me that crypto requires numbers. Ecosystems like this will be more vibrant when there are more people. For instance, there's very limited amount of SAC token is in supply currently, and of course, more and more will be minted along the way. Right now, if the system charges, let's say 5% fee whenever somebody attempts to sell the SAC by generating this revenue to support DAO rewards and then support the developers and all that, then at the end of the day, you agree with me that the more we are, the more transactions that will go on and the more fees that will be generated to support the activities we are doing. So the system has in place reward mechanisms or referral commissions that should you decide to share this good news with your friend, then you are helping towards building of the community, and that action is definitely going to generate revenue, and portions of that revenue is going to be shared with you. So there are two types of revenue or reward mechanisms that are awarded to you when you decide to invite your friends to be part of Shadows Club. The first one is what we call the direct referral commission. This commission grants you 10% of your directly referred friends 12 hours earning. Let me explain. Let's say in the earlier example I mentioned, let's say you brought 1,000 SAC, or somebody, Lion King referred Jerry, and then Jerry comes to stake 1,000 SAC. Then in the first 12 hours, I made about 40 SAC as my reward. Now, out of that 40, 10% of that is given to Lion King. And it's not a one-off thing. Every 12 hours, when new rewards are distributed, Lion King receives his 10%. So think about it from this angle. It's like doing one job, setting up a shop, or in our part of the world. Okay, I am a proud Ghanaian, and we proud ourselves with cocoa. Now, when you plant cocoa, you plant it, you go to work, you do all the work, in one season until it grows. Once it grows, every season it yields fruit, it bears fruit or the cocoa for you, and that cocoa becomes your cash crop. Each time it brings reward, that same tree keeps yielding over and over again. How different is that from a plant like let's say plantain? When a plantain tree brings up its fruit and you cut it, That's the end of it. Unless it regrows itself through another growth cycle to grow up to that level to produce another fruit. But this is like a cocoa farm. You plant the seed, and every 12 hours you come and you harvest your 10%. You harvest your 10%. Guys, to be very honest with you, this is what raised those champions everybody is talking about. The idea of somebody waking up to $10,000 daily, $30,000 daily, $50,000 daily lies in his power of sharing, and understanding the platform he is. Naturally, if you're a team builder, you agree with me. You are more concerned. A lot of people don't understand this. When you're a leader, your aim is to bring a project that will last long for your people to make money. You know why? When it lasts long for your people to make money, the longer it lasts, the more money you make in returns. Your people are excited, you are more richer, right? So when it comes to planting a seed once and then benefiting or leveraging on this technology, and if you listen to me carefully, the other protocols built on this same model are 5 years, 6 years in operation. Imagine planting somebody once, and then every 12 hours you receive 10% of whatever he earns over the period of 6 years. This can grow into crazy sum. Those of you on our WhatsApp group, you've seen a video of somebody making over 168,000 every day, $168,000 every day from one activity he has done. That is the first form of rewards, and you only earn that on your directly invited friends. Now, what if your friends also decide to invite and divide their friends? Oh, praise God, your community is growing. Now, that qualifies you to receive what we call the contribution rewards. Now, this contribution, there is a very simple formula. Thankfully, Shadow's Claw is not that kind of project that says, we have VIP 1, VIP 2, VIP 3, VIP 4. And if you don't qualify for VIP 4, then we restrict you to only 2% of your earnings, or maybe only 5%. And then when you climb up to VIP 10, then you'll be earning 70%. And meanwhile, we are all doing the same activity, the same work. That kind of thing don't exist here. There is a simple formula that is fair to everybody, which is what we have on your screens here. Now, to determine your team contribution reward, the platform takes into consideration what we call your weight coefficient, right? Plus your total team performance value multiplied by the total network or the total community performance value, then multiplied by 80% of the total network rebase every 12 hours. Now, let me break all this thing down into simple language for you to understand. How do you get your weight coefficient? Now, there is a table below your screen that explains this. Any stake below 1,000, it could be $1, it could be up to $999. When you stake personally, in your stake falls within this, your coefficient is predetermined by 0.9. That becomes your coefficient. So we can pick this 0.9 and put it here. We are trying to work out this formula. Now, if your stake is above 1,000 or $1,000 plus all the way to 1,999, you realize that your weight you become a bit more heavier, and then your personal weight coefficient becomes 0.91. $2,000 and above to 4,000 gives you 0.92. Then $4,000 and above personal stake gives you 0.94. And then 6,000 and above up to 9,999 gives you 0.96. And then anything above $10,000 gives you 1. Now, this coefficient will be put here. Then your total team contribution value. Let me explain how the contribution value is determined. Let's say this is me. I referred 4 friends. And then all these friends, they are so powerful that nobody wants to carry last, like we say in our language. And then let's say the first leg produced 10,000 a 10,000 sack volume of staking in both him and his team. Now, leg 2 also does the same. Let's say they all had that. What the system is going to do is very simple. The system is going to pick one of these. Under normal circumstances, it is the biggest leg that is used. But for the purpose of demonstration, let's say this is your bigger leg with a volume of 10,000. Then you have 3 other legs who also have 10,000, 10,000 each. Now, once the system has identified this at your big level, they ignore that. Then they pick these ones, 1, 2, 3, add all together. And even when added together, although it becomes bigger than your bigger region, because it's a combination, the system doesn't mind. Then they pick all these, which is your sub region, and then multiply it by 1.33 to determine your total contribution value. Now, all these things that I'm saying, you don't even need to do the calculation. But let's look at the practical example of what this means. First of all, your total team staking, when you add all these, will give you about 40,000. Like, let's say 40,000. Now, 10,000 being your bigger leg has been taken off. Then they pick 3,000 at the summation of 1, 2, 3, and then multiply it by 133. When you do the calculation, it comes to 3,990 $999. No, $990. Now, that is almost the same as your total team volume. Only few drops have been taken off. Then that is used as your region to determine your contribution based on which you are paid. Then the system calculates all the total network, contribution value, or the total summation of all the weak legs of all the builders on the community, and then use that as the network performance value, and then multiply it by the total rebase that happens every 12 hours. The total rebase that happens every 12 hours. So when it happens these 12 hours, let's say the first rebase that happens is 1 million sack. Then the next 12 hours, another million sack it becomes the total rebase. The system adds both to acquire the daily rebase, and then use 80% of that and distribute it back to the community. So this kind of approach allows you to make maximum benefit of your team. And for me, it is the fairest formula that has been introduced to curb some of the injustices that are done to team builders. Sometimes there are people who build big teams, but because they are not able to stake so much, the other traditional models will say, if you want to go to VIP4, then put in 20,000. If you want to VIP5, then your personal stake should be 50,000. What it simply means is that even if you have 10 billion worth of sales, that should qualify you to even VIP 80. For the fact that you personally, you cannot provide financially, you cannot provide that volume, they cut it off and then they throw it away. But when you pick this formula, it becomes so fair to everybody. Let me also be quick to add that there is what we call the dynamic fivefold cycle, which is economic model that has been put in place to ensure that team builders like Jerry and Lion King do not siphon the community with our community rewards. There are so many good projects that went bad because there are some few builders up there who wake up to so much in a day, and the little money reserved in the liquidity pool, these guys will be taking without providing. At the end of the day, these projects, do suffer liquidity issues, and they pack their bags and they leave. So these people have thought it wise that it is true, your contribution is being recognized. However, each time you put a stake, the dynamic reward fivefold cycle, let's say somebody told me this, I don't have money, I put in $100. Then I started building a team. The system says fair enough. Each time your community reward is up to 5 times your input. Let's say you put in 100, you've earned community reward of 500. Then you need to stake again, provide that stake again to support the community to keep receiving your end. I think that is the fairest deal anyone can think of. right? What they are trying to prevent is the fact that maybe Jerry doesn't even believe in this project at all. He only put $100 there, and he's pushing everybody in. And at the end of the day, Jerry will wake up and take $50,000 from the community pool and go away. Come back the next day and take another 50,000 when I'm no longer doing anything to support the ordinary people who have staked and they don't have team. And at the end of the day, my irresponsible action is going to deprive them the expected end they want. So all these prudent measures have been put in place to ensure that the ordinary staker, that have decided to stake without referring others, will have unrestricted access to your growth when it comes to, so that my action will not kill the project before its maturity. And all those have been put in place for the long-term purpose of this community. So in a nutshell, this is what Shadow's Claw is all about. This is the idea being put together, and this is what other communities can't stop talking about. I would like to pause here and come back to my screens and then ask if there are a few questions. I take them before we go back to the blockchain and then check some few things on the chain. Maybe there are questions you want me to answer. There are areas I just touched on that you do not understand. Please feel free and drop those questions, and I would definitely love to take them for you. On that note, thank you for having me around. If you have any question, please raise your blue hand. Is it blue hand? I think it's yellow hand, and I'll give you a chance to actually ask your questions before we move on to other segments. If you have any questions, please. Okay, it looks like we really don't have any question at all. Let me say, I still want to acknowledge the presence of some of the big leaders in our midst. Ralph Foundation, good evening to you, sir. I can see you in the building. Dr. Consti, oh my God, I was unable to meet you due to the series of meetings I've had this evening. But please forgive me, Daddy. I'll come around tomorrow morning or even after this Zoom, if possible. Please. If there are no questions, then I want to believe I actually did a very good job with breaking it down for everybody's understanding. Now, let's look at some basic security talks. Because one, if I am telling you, if you put in this money, you're going to make so much, what is the guarantee that when the time is up, nobody is going to cook stories and say few things to you and say this? But before I even do that, I would like to take you to Celtic. Celtic is a very important platform as long as crypto projects are, concerned. And this team has been able to provide the code, the smart contract to Celtic for Celtic to kind of verify or audit the smart contract, and at the end of the day, point out any shortfalls or any security threats they may have seen or any security advice. Yesterday, when I checked, the total Celtic score rating was around 82%. Let me share my screens now. Let's go to Celtic and then check one or two things. Let's talk about security. It's very important. Please don't leave. That portion is extremely important. So I'm going to share my screens again, and let's go straight to Celtic. What is Celtic? Let's go. Okay, here. Now, I earlier on told you this is Shadow's Claw on Celtic, Celtic.com project Shadow's Claw. And you can see it here. Now, this is a project that is yet to launch, especially the AI agents and then the prediction market. This is a project that is yet to launch. But if you look at it, there is a reward, there's an award here. This project has been rated into the top 10 AI agents built on Binance chain already. And the overall Celtic Skynet ratings is about 4.2 and then rated A. Now, let's go back in there and look at a few other things before we continue. Now, when Celtic audited their smart contract. Of course, we have user ratings too here, rating about 62,801 people rated this project. Did you listen to the number? 62,801 people. These people are the CERTIC community users. Now, these are users who have been taught to see a good project when they recognize it. After analyzing, the users are normally asked to do their ratings. And of course, I can also sign in or log in and then do my ratings as long as I'm a member of this club, right? And out of 62,000, we have a star rating of 4/5 ratings. Right now, the smart contract has been scanned by CERTIC, and few things were brought into their attention for. Let's look at centralization overview, because at the end of the day, it's an important area of everything we are saying, right? If there's a way the team or there's a human who can go in and have that control over distribution, or whether they can upgrade something, or they have any other rights at all, CERTIC will be able to point it out. So when they did this finding, they said there is one special privilege that has been granted to a certain address. There's a special privilege that has been granted to one particular address, and that address, if compromised, when that address is compromised, let's go into it. I think, let me not just read off it. Let's go into where is this issue. Let's view the issues. Give me 1 minute, please. I'm looking for uh yes. Now, where CERTIC pointed out, saying there is a wallet that has been given certain access, and it has to do with a token, that the token has a hidden owner. Now, let me explain what that means. In the typical operational model of this protocol, when you provide liquidity, right? Every claim I'm going to make here, I'll prove it to you. When you provide liquidity, first of all, those of you who took time to read the smart contract, you realize that there's a clause that says that, one, every SAC token that is minted and released to the liquidity pool, the treasury contract should release 1 USDT to back it up, right? And also, the token itself is mintable, like rightly stated here. The token itself is mintable, which simply means that the total supply of SAC is not pre-minted. Let's say if it is 1 billion tokens that will ever exist, that 1 billion token hasn't been printed ahead of time. And the team has never made a claim that, oh, we have already printed a token that when you stake, then we'll be giving you this token. The dangers that comes up with is the fact that when that happens, this token that has already been printed will be vested in the owner's wallet. And the danger that it possesses is that, what if they decide to, because the token is trading, they don't have access to the pool, but if they have the token, they can sell it. Then they will grab the token that has already been pre-minted, go to the market and sell it, thereby taking monies from the liquidity pool. In our case, it is when the 12 hours is due, after every 12 hours, that is when new tokens are minted to us in the form of rewards. The SAC we receive is a form of reward. And as part of the longer community value, the smart contract also states that, granted that at a point the token price is dumping, the token, there's a sell pressure on the token, and the token is going down in value. The backup funds we have in the treasury contract, when the 12 hours is due for new tokens to be minted, rather than minting new tokens, the funds will be tapped on upon. The smart contract will pick these funds from the treasury, take it to the market, and acquire SAC to provide extra life or inject more capital into the token life to bring it back to where it was before the dump, and then use that as the reward to distribute to people. So let's say every 12 hours there is 1,000 SAC tokens that are minted and distributed to the community. It gets to a point where the token price has fallen from $27 to maybe $20. Now, when the smart contract determines that that $20 is below the premium value set in the smart contract, rather than printing new tokens as reward for the next 12 hours, of course, economically, the thing is falling in price. Why do you bring more into the market to kill the price? Rather, use the money locked up in the treasury, use that, go to the market, acquire this token, and give it to the users as reward, thereby rejuvenating the price. And there is a smart contract that handles that. So what this centralization means has to do with the token. It is on the token. It is not on the main smart contract. And I'll prove what I just said. Let me copy the smart contract of Shadows Claw from this. I can see the smart contract here. Let me just prove this thing to you right now. Let's go to something like PooCoin. Let's go to, is it PooCoin? Okay, let's go to PooCoin. Give me a second. Okay, we're going to PooCoin now. Oh, come on, please. Okay, awesome. So here on PooCoin, what I'm going to do is to paste the wallet address I just copied from Cetic. And to be sure it is the same wallet address, you see the name of the token, which is the Shadows Claw, stated right here. So I'm going to click on it just to tell you that I am not, displaying any random token. Now, look at the extreme right here. Look at the extreme right here. The liquidity, the total liquidity provided, or the total liquidity in this token. First of all, we have 29,826.1 26.16 USDT, and then we have the token value of 89. I think this one just updated. It will update in a bit. We have 29 million 189,776. It will update in a bit. Every point in time, this token. Okay, give me 1 minute. Let's use the screener for more updated research. Okay, it has just adjusted, but that's not a problem. Let's use the screener. What I'm trying to point to you is that every time there's a new token minted, the smart contract requires that $1 is pushed to that pool to ensure that it matches up. So every time you want to check whether there's a foul play somewhere, whether the developers, are they really sure they are not printing tokens into the system, that doesn't go through the smart contract. You only have to compare the total amount in circulation. Okay, here, SAC. Perfect. Now, there you have it. The total pooled, they even make it more clearer. Let me zoom it for those far to see it. Now, when you look at the total pooled SAC value, is equal to $29.8 million. And then you look at the USDT value backing it, $29.8 million. And you realize that each time there's a switch, there's a different, something new changes here, it automatically triggers something to be added here. What it simply means that each time there's a new SAC token that comes in, instantly this value is added back to it. So at every point in time, the accounted amount of SAC that is in circulation, the Treasury always provided the exact amount of USDT to back it. And the smart contract responsible for doing that is what has that authority to do it. And is that smart contract really renounced? Of course, to be able to check that is very simple. Those of you who have engaged with a smart contract on your token pocket, let me show you. In my class, I like to teach you. Go and check your history. At a point when you swap USDT into SAC, or when you swap your SAC and you receive USDT, that special wallet address that sends the money to you in USDT, that is where the treasury is. That is where all these funds are stored, and that is the wallet that has the ability to perform these functions being minted out here. So those of you who ask me, why is CETIC saying one centralization control? The centralization here has to do with the power vested into that smart contract to make sure new tokens are minted, and then immediately they are minted, $1 is taken from the pairs and then added on to um, the liquidity pool to ensure fairness at every point in time. So each and every claim I can make here is already confirmable on the chain. I'll go to see the owners of the liquidity in a minute, but there's an important, very, very important news feed here I think I need to touch on. If you look at this, on the 29th of June, this is a very young project. If you check what is stated here, you remember that they stated that the project is 1 month, 11 days old. 1 month, 11 days old. When you check the statistics here, on the 29th of June, we have over 200,000 holders. These are unique holders of SAC. So just to put the conversation in perspective, now this is a project that was launched with no outrageous, okay, this is what I was waiting for. You see the token pair created 1 month, 11 days ago. 1 month, 11 days ago. And within this 1 month, over, goodness, over 200,000 crypto believers feel that there is future in this project, and they have acquired some amount of tokens. Don't forget that the company's aim, or the platform, not company, the protocol's aim is to raise at least 1 million active holders who will be partakers in our ecosystem to ensure that when the AI agents are released, imagine 1 million people, even if they are spending $1 daily to deploy these AI agents, that is $1 million worth of pure revenue being generated and pulled back into the pool to support our long-term growth. And of course, before I go, this is also a project listed as A. Of course, I don't think we deserve A. So apart from that, none other centralization has been raised apart from these peculiar issues. And of course, let me also state that it is an industry standard. Even projects that are on for 4 years old, there are certain areas of their smart contract that they allow certain subcontracts to handle, and then at the end of the day, everything is being checked. I also want to touch on this before we go. Now, the total user base they have scanned in the last few hours, you realize that if you're on Discord, you may think, oh, why is Africa the only group talking about this? Oh, if you are beginning to think and look at that in our group, the only reason why we are the only group talking about it is that we are early birds. In the next few days, you see a lot of people going to talk about this. But if you look at their heat map, their user heat map, you realize that a lot, when you see the green, this is where they are getting their traffic from. So, hey, hello, it's not an African show. It's not an African show, it's a global show. And it's a global show with over 200,000 people already talking about Shadow's Claw. And the more reason why it is trending, the more reason why everybody is paying. Hey, what are they doing? Why is everybody running to them? If in 1 month we can raise 200,000 active wallet holders, think about what happens in 1 year. think about what happens in 6 years, think about what happens in 10 years. And the more reason why, if you don't tell your friend about this today, you see those 200,000 holders, one of them is definitely going to tell them. And don't come crying to Jerry that my friend has been taken simply because you fail to mention stuff to him. So I'm going to pause here. And tonight we have a game. Go Blasters, go. Yeah, we have a game, and I don't want to keep you waiting. And I'm thinking I'll be visiting my dad after this call, Dr. Consti. So let me pause here and take few questions if there are. If not, then I'll hand over to my leaders. Lion King, if you have a word to add, I don't know if you have focus. Okay, there's a hand at, oh, Lion, Gold King. We have Gold King, we have Lion King, we have Blockchain King, which is me. All the kings and queens are here. Gold Kings, over to you, sir.
All right, my leader. I think earlier on you were trying to call on me, but then my mic was on mute. I couldn't.
Okay, that's fine.